Hello, I'm Khary Frazier, founder of Detroit is Different. I'd like to thank you for checking out and tuning in to the 2023 State of Black Detroit. Who's afraid of a Black Detroit? This is an event run through Detroit is Different. Detroit is Different is a community group. It's also a community media hub, welcoming podcasts, video, and so much more. Even our wonderful events throughout the year, the Collard Green Cook-Off, the My Natural Hair Show, and so many other things like this here. This collaboration is a collaboration between Detroit is Different and Mama Akua House, community movement builders, but more so an extension of the friendship, bond, and relationship between myself and Yusef Bunchy Shakur. I should say Dr. Yusef Bunchy Shakur. We were actually the ones in 2009 that did the very last event at the Renaissance Club, atop the Renaissance Center. It was Kwanzaa at the Renaissance. And since then, we've done so many more things, so many other things. So we welcome you to meet so many of the other people that support community and a lot of the works connected to Detroit is Different, but connected to stronger works, not just in Detroit, not just in Michigan, even in the nation and even internationally. This will be a wonderful event to set the tone for you all to get practical solutions in ways that we're already engaging. Things that we've witnessed. And when we say who's afraid of a Black Detroit, it's more so dealing with everything we've dealt with, but ways we've overcome it. You're gonna get some different perspectives, but more so, you're gonna get what I call knowledge, AKA in the streets, the game on what you need to do. So with this, I want you to sit back and know it'll be powerful. If you like to give and get in a last minute donation for 2023 so you can get back some more money and support what we're doing, please make that donation to Detroit is Different Community Group, 501c3. This is going to be fun, and it's going to already start off with somebody that's so connected to community that you may not know, but I definitely know he's an entertainer.
Hey, this your boy Foolish, and it's the State of Black Detroit. Y'all better listen up.
This brother is somebody that, man, oh man, for the people that the old school joke, because I love Robin Harris. People know I love comedy all the time, but Robin Harris used to have a joke of like, man, you selling that Dick Gregory. He's one of those people that like started from that whole movement. So I don't know if people know this, but someone I look up to as far as like connecting media with working with our people and community was Dick Gregory. And for the while, he had many different works that he wasn't even necessarily looking to profit off of. And it created opportunity for many people. It created an opportunity for this brother to actually have a health store. I'm talking about like the end of the 80s, early 90s on Dexter and Claremont. So for people that know that intersection, you're thinking that Dexter and Claremont may be Dexter now. Dexter and Claremont then was definitely all entrenched, and the store lasted for years around health consciousness and connecting our people to something. Dr. Jesse Brown is a powerful person that I think definitely invited, a lot of people talk about Dr. Sebi. Dr. Sebi came here a couple times working with Dr. Brown and a lot of other doctors when it comes to holistic medicine. Alkaline water is something that he would talk about. Releasing mucus is something he'd talk about. Vitamin D, everything that most of us, myself, my dad, and many others were like, okay, I want to strengthen my immune system to take on anything after COVID-19, because that's how I looked at it. I don't know how you all looked at it. And it's been people doing this work in our community for forever. Somebody from our community, and this is Dr. Jesse Brown. Dr. Jesse Brown, I got the first question.
Thank you for that introduction.
Thank you.
That's and it is quite a bit of history, and I absolutely stand on the shoulders of my ancestors. Dick Gregory was one of the influential people. Most people don't know about Dr. Frank and Mother Elizabeth Bracey, Dr. Matthews, and so many. They know about Dr. Sebi, who did some work, saw clients, and did some work through Detroit Holistic Center and the Holistic Training Institute. Queen Afua, Dr. Laila Africa, Dick Gregory. There have been so many people over the past more than 30 years that came through to empower our community, to awaken us to the most important thing, the most important resolution or goal that we'll have in life, and that's to stay alive and to be healthy and vibrant when we are alive. So, and Dick Gregory was just such a fantastic mentor.
Mm.
When I was able to meet him and then bring him to Detroit and have him speak here uh, and do forums and that sort of thing, it was a dream fulfilled, so to speak, to see someone that I admired so much that modeled health and wellness to me. He's probably, I'm sure he's one of the reasons why I got into running as well. As most people don't know, Dick Gregory ran across the United States.
Yeah. Shout
And
out
besides-
to Charlene Mitchell Rogers that was right there with him.
Yes.
Well, Charlene, I know, is probably somewhere in the comments, and I'm gonna go
Yeah.
back to the comments in a second.
Yeah.
And as you talk about that, I also like to just echo the fact that, like, not just you, it was a lot of brothers and sisters that were selling the mix. A lot of people were looking at it for diet. I don't necessarily know if Dick Gregory's goal was that as much as it was really just empowering our people. But during this time at the late 80s, when people think, oh man, it was just crack selling. Right in the heart, it was a lot of brothers and sisters throughout, not just here in Detroit, but Baltimore, Philadelphia, Charlotte, New York, definitely across the nation that had opportunities to empower people with health goods, something powerful. So with that, let's jump right into the first question I got for you.
Okay, so in here, I just want to highlight this. So some people knew about the Dick Gregory Bahamian diet.
Yeah.
We started at that time. He also started something called Correction Connection, which was a formula designed to help people break those addictions, because of course that was a major concern in our community as well as it is today.
And shout out Mama Kim Sharobi's here too. As she walked in and knew you directly, I was like, I should have known that both you guys would know.
Absolutely.
That. What are some of the most practical and beneficial actions you've seen people take to strengthen health throughout the Black community?
First of all is food. So I have to say food, and then physical activity, and then businesses that relate to health. First of all, we got to have food. We have to have food security. So Detroit is actually a mecca and becoming more of a prominent place in the U.S. and beyond for having urban gardens and farms, D-Town, and so many of those types of initiatives that we're having here to make sure that our people are fed and have access to food affordably. That's essential. The next would be physical activity. So Detroit at various times has been rated as the fattest or the unhealthiest, one of the unhealthiest cities in the United States. And it's partly because of our winter, the seasonality. We can't go outside all the time, and our factory and production life and some other things that contribute to that. But physical activity is increasing. Fortunately, people are doing more walking, they're doing more running. You have some of the largest running groups and cycling groups that are happening in Detroit. Detroit is known for first anyway and doing some breakthrough and revolutionary stuff. But physical activity is becoming more prominent, and that needs to be an essential part of our resurgence, our renaissance, and our transformation. And then the economics of health. Okay, so many people will talk about the drugs that proliferate in the community. Drugs, alcohol, the vices and problems that we have would not be where they are, would not be the factors that they are if there were not economics behind it. You want to change that? You want to get people to stop smoking or drinking or using drugs as much? Take the economics out of it. So when there's economic incentive, when billions or trillions of dollars are being made in these vices, it's always going to be here. So similarly, the natural products industry, for example, is part of a multi-billion-dollar health and wellness industry. Anyway, is $300 billion people will spend in natural products, or spending approximately, now. And that's going to go to about 400 billion in less than a decade by 2030. We need to be a part of that. We need to be developing. We need to solve problems for people in ways that are good for the planet, that are profitable, principled, and philanthropic. We do that. We have a template for transformation like never before. So put put some economics, allow people to feed their families, take care of their communities, and make social change and transformation through doing good things, through doing the right things, social entrepreneurship. And so you find more and more companies are doing that. They're looking at the packaging, they're looking at the sourcing, they're looking at how people are treated, where things are grown, if they're using chemicals or not, all these different things that impact people's health and impact the health of the environment and the planet as well. So that's where we're moving, and the Holistic Training Institute, and what my mission is to help train healers in every home, in every family, in every community, so that we can take advantage of that. So we're not just consumers, but we are producers. We're solving problems. We're getting educated. We're understanding our health and wealth and how things are going to look in the future.
And I definitely think that we're tuning in a lot more to the alkaline diets and alkaline water as more herbs. Shout out to more herbs. That's where I go get a lot of my vitamins. It's like every time I go in there, you go at the wrong time. It's bustling over there on 7 Mile with people. And it really exists too, because I mean, if you I guess put a little dye on your beard and locks, they have no idea. How old are you?
I'm 67. Yeah. And I'm a runner, as some people know.
And I wanted to say that before this next question, because it's real and it echoes as people, think that 67. And I mean, seriously, I think it's probably people in their 20s that definitely running a mile, you out running, and so many other things.
I'm faster than I was 16 years ago.
Wow.
My marathons, my half marathons, and everything else are faster than they were 16 years ago. I ran my first marathon at 51. I wanted to be in shape I wanted to be in marathon shape by the time I turned 50. But my sister threw me a birthday party at 50. I didn't make that marathon. Yeah. But the day after I turned 51, I ran my first marathon. And so I've been running ever since. And that's one of the key things, being not just being active, but being active at a high level.
You're getting right into that next question I got.
Okay.
And that's, in general, what should be the quality of life and health that people in our community should be experiencing? What are the essential vitamins, herbs, exercises, meditations, and or relationships that should be kept to achieve this? Hence, like I always like to say, I want to be able to do 30 push-ups, 50 sit-ups, 10 pull-ups. Like I have like these things in my mind, which I mean, it's not like a test or something, but just me and my own ego. But what are some of the things essential that need to exist? If I see Sherrod.
Well, instead of being the unhealthiest people on the planet, instead of Africans in America having the highest rates of cancer, diabetes, and heart disease and high blood pressure and these things, we should be exhibiting the best in all aspects of health. It was only the healthiest people that were brought here from the continent of Africa through the Middle Passage, that survived slavery and all the atrocities and everything that we've gone through. We excel in athletics in many cases, but when it comes to the average, person, we're woefully inadequate. We should be much more vibrant than anybody else. We should have greater longevity and greater healthfulness. Now that's going to look different for different people, but when we talk about our lives, and we talk about health, and we talk about how old we are, we start from the very young, and we say, how old is that child? How old is that, that person? We think about it in terms of being old, and then we say, oh, a certain age or stage that you're old and you shouldn't do X, Y, and Z. And then we see people like Ernestine Shepherd, who was the world's oldest female bodybuilder. And we see her excelling. We see her running 5-6 miles, in the morning, 5-6 o'clock in the morning before she works out with others. Most of us can express health like that. It's in our genes. We have genius in our genes and diamonds in our DNA, as I like to say. we are more brilliant and resilient than what we're exhibiting, but we're thinking from a different mindset, and we're lying about dying. We're saying, oh, somebody's died of old age, or well, they lived a ripe old life for whatever it's 70 or 80. We're getting sicker sooner and dying faster because we have an expectation that would occur. My father told me something a long time ago. He said first that his parents died by the time he was 17. So he didn't expect to make it to 70. He lived to 76, but those last 6 to 8 years or so, he wasn't in great health. So our expectations are going to drive our motivation and our action, our activity, and the results we're going to get. Okay. So if sickness, if chronic disease runs in your family, run it out of there. Okay. Find out what to eat. Give your body real food. We enjoy our restaurants and eating and gatherings and those types of things, and we allow that to distract us from understanding the fuel that this temple really needs. We treat our cars, our clothes, our cribs better than we do our bodies. And so what do we expect? You spend $70,000, $50,000, whatever on a car and maintaining it and the insurance and everything else, and go cheap on the body. You don't do a $1.99 Happy Meal. Okay. If you have a Maserati type body or Ferrari type body, we got to look at our bodies and our health and our potential for longevity and healthfulness differently.
So that brings us to the first fear question. What are some of the unforeseen challenges you have faced while working to empower Black health in the Black community?
Unforeseen challenges. A couple of challenges that I'll say in terms of business is one. In 1987, when I started Detroit Holistic Center, there weren't holistic health centers. So having access to finances and funding, that was difficult. And then having support around that as well. So I had some mentorship, but that was challenging. People told me that, especially on Dexter and Davison, that Black people aren't gonna support the business. They're not gonna come.
If I was an investor, I definitely don't know how much I would put in beyond me having love for you.
Exactly. I mean, it's straight up hood. 1987, straight up hood. Okay. However, and I think it was Marcus Garvey that said, drop your buckets where you are, basically establish yourself wherever you are. Start with what you have, do it the best that you can. And we transformed that space. We made that an oasis of health and wellness and outgrew that. And then here it is, it was more than 30 years later, over 60,000 people later. Okay. We're still seeing people, and the awareness about health and wellness and colonics and cleansing and all that is transformed tremendously, exponentially. Okay. So where we are in terms of the city and where we are in terms of urban areas, in terms of our awareness and our activity and our movement toward that has gone a long ways. But I'll tell you, the early days and a lot of those middle years were difficult because of the lack of consciousness, lack of investment, and us just not really investing in our own health and wellness like we really could. We really need to step it up. I'm going to do some writing on that in some recording on that in terms of what people really need to do. You asked about, what are the things people should do? Should they meditate? Should they take vitamins and minerals? Too often people are looking for something magic. And guess what? There is no magic bullet. It's programmatic. It's not it's a program, not a product. Okay. So it's from what you do first thing in the morning and throughout the day. It's what you do most of the time, not what you do some of the time. People want to drink a juju juice or take just say, CMOS is going to cure everything. Well, it's more than just one thing or two things. And don't drink alkaline water, have an alkaline diet, and acidic mindset and lifestyle. okay, is going to cancel out. It's what we do all together. It's our relationships. Okay. It's our relationship to the earth and the planet and other people. How we treat ourselves is going to be reflective of how we treat others. Okay. So it's more of a dynamic. So we need the program, the template, a holistic template is going to be more complete, more well-rounded, more inclusive, so that it does impact us in the schools and in our places of worship. Every place that we go, everything that we do is a prayer. Every place is an opportunity to infuse some aspect that is healing, that provides a sense of wholeness, inclusion, love more than hate, optimism over fear, the ability to reach out and connect with people more than withdraw and see people as other, playing the dozens, finding fault and flaw. Okay.
And with that, you answered the next two, 1 and 2 together,
okay,
but not to 3. And I thank you
Okay.
so much for being present with this. I'm going to do some more content with you this year. We spoke a little bit about
Oh,
that, as I'm
absolutely.
always ripping and running.
Yes.
Also, Baba Simmons. I don't know if Baba Simmons is still here. I'm going to do some more content with Baba Simmons.
Mhm.
And Carolyn. We've said it for a while. So Carolyn, you're going to see more collaborative of a lot of the panelists with Detroit is Different coming in 2024. Last question. What have you learned? And what are you still learning from these challenges that you face as more people are getting connected to this work?
What have I learned and what am I learning? I'm constantly learning. And that's part of the process, is always being open to the reality and the fact that there's more that's available than what we're seeing. And that people actually, they do want to change. They do want to have, most of us are very similar. We're more alike than different. We want good health for ourselves, our family members. Those people that we love, we want to be in communities that are safe and nurturing. We really want fundamentally the same things. We don't know how to get there. We don't always know how to get there. We don't know how to navigate the health system. We don't understand our bodies enough. There's so many things that we're not taught in traditional schools that we need to learn that are essential. And sometimes we find that out far too late. So then we get out of balance with nature, and we make choices that oftentimes are not our own, but are those things that we're programmed to do. So I find that the more that I share and the more that I work in collaboration with other people, the more possibilities that there are. That it's unlimited. Dick Gregory shared something, with me years ago that I'll not soon forget. He said, "You got a big job." And he charged many of us with that and said, "You got a big job." He would talk about the problem, but he would just say, "You got a big job," because he believed that people would do it. It may not happen in his lifetime, and it didn't happen in his lifetime. But if each of us takes this on, just imagine what would happen if we had 1 million more healers, people healing relationships, people healing bodies and touching and connecting, especially after COVID, especially after the isolation and fear and the, oh my God, what's going to happen? And we're masking up, we're avoiding people. We're doing things that are fundamentally against our nature as community people, as people who need to be around other people. And so our health decline, our mental, our physical, our spiritual, our emotional health decline. Things will never be the same. But what we need to do is we have to swing the pendulum the other way by recognizing the problems that we have and how we can solve those, because the solution is in our hands. It's not going to happen from the institutions or on high. It's going to happen from the bottom up. The revolution is going to be is going to take a different form in terms of our health and our generational health in addition to our generational wealth.
Hats cocked right, soldiers got my back. Plan in effect, and we fighting to the death. Got my black fist stuck, my black fist stuck. Got my black fist stuck, my black fist stuck. We already got them, caught them when they watching. Think got my black this stuff, my black this stuff, got my black this stuff, my black this